so that we will understand. He says we should seek after understanding as though it were the most precious, precious, precious treasure, because to know him is to understand him. To understand him is to read his word and to understand why he while he opens up, reveals to you all the secrets. He says, seek and you shall find, knock and it shall be open unto you. For he desires us to dwell in his house. He desires us to inquire in his temple. He desires us to have a victorious life, so that he opens the door and he gives us light of the light of understanding on all these things that are able to keep us in this world, because we are surrounded by evil. And he desires that we prosper and be in good health. So he's given us the Spirit. He refers to him as the Spirit of power, the Spirit of love, and the Spirit of a sound mind. So let us seek him today, because if we don't have that sound mind, that mind that will absorb reason and come to the understanding and do his will, then we are not in good health. So let us seek and ask, seek and knock, so that the Father will open the doors to understanding, the knowledge of him, and eternal life. This is my short devotion this morning. There is no more I can say regarding this God of ours, who is not a man that can lie, but is the source of all our soundness. He is the source of all understanding and wisdom and goodness and mercy and truth. It is only by his mercy that we are not consumed. For so the evil one is trying to consume us by getting through all the avenues of our minds, and so make us mindless followers of evil. Let us ask the Spirit of the sound mind to be with us. This is my counsel to us today. For Christ's sake, let us hear and heed his voice. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Amen. Well, thanks, Sister Alison, again for her short and timely devotion. This morning, before we get into the program, my word to the wise segment is a burden that any or every right thinking person should have on their mind. As we see these pictures flash across the screen, with this whole, I don't call it a war, the massacre that is going on in Gaza. A war is when you have combatants fighting against each other, equal or fairly able to defend themselves and things like that. What is happening is tanks and gunships and missiles and warship and all heavy equipment being used in a area just about 25 miles long and about 15 or so miles across. And 2.4 million people live in that area. And we have the bombing. And I don't, there are some folks who are driven by religion. And I am saying religion alone should make you merciful, to make you understand and see pain and want to alleviate pain from people. Religion alone should make you understand what is injustice. Religion alone should make you scream or squirm, I should say, when you see children being killed. 11,000 people have been killed. 4,700 and something of them have been children. Religion alone should make you know that when you displace somebody from their home and just an hour before send a leaflet telling them to leave and head, and where they're heading, they don't know. Some of them have no family, no friends, but they are heading with their family, their children, and their meager belongings. Religion are going to tell you something is wrong with that. And when I see religious people, Christians or so-called Christian pastors are saying that Israel has a right to defend itself. What is she defending? Something happened on October 7th, 1,200 people brutally in a most barbaric way killed in Israel. This is 5 weeks later, 6 weeks later, and 11,000 people have died, 4,700 odd children. And you are saying that she has a right to defend herself. What is she defending? Who is she defending? And to think that you will take the side of an aggressor and an occupier at that, you are taking the side of the aggressor, the one who has occupied Palestine land. This thing didn't happen on October 7th, mind you. This thing has been going on for years. If you look on the date, you can go all the way back to 1916, the Sykes-Picot Agreement, when the dismantling of the Ottoman Empire was given in such a way that it was known that Israel, the Western world will divide up the spoils of the Ottoman Empire. And then we had the Balfour Declaration in 1947. And when you think about the 7-Day War that happened again in 1967, but most of all, the division and the problem that had to cause the first occupation in 2005. And you go back and you walk yourself through this and you ask yourself, who is the aggressor here? Who is the aggressor? You walk back through the whole history of this thing and you ask yourself, who is the aggressor? And there are some Christians who will say to you, well, Israel is fighting for her land. God gave Israel land. Even if you want to recognize these imposters in Israel today as the true Israelites, then you have to go back to the Bible and recognize that God has made a new covenant and he has called all of us into that covenant. And that land no longer belongs to Israel. So I don't know where you're going with this argument. What we are seeing is murder, mayhem, barbarism, war crimes, genocide. That's what we are witnessing on the day. In fact, we are the first generation to actually be eyewitnesses of a genocide. When it happened in Rwanda, when it happened in Eastern Europe, when it happened like slavery, all those things, most of us, we heard it by news or by historical data. We are the first generation who are actually witnessing, who are eyewitnesses to a genocide. First. And to think that we use all sorts of arguments to say that this is Israel rights and this is barbarism, my friends. This is clear, unadulterated barbarism. And when we do it like that, we find ourselves just going the wrong way. A word to the wise is sufficient. Before I bring on my guest, I see my guest is in the house. Before I bring on my guest, I just want to say thank you to a few people we are on air this morning that I'm totally grateful to. I'm grateful to my sister out there in New York, Sister June Antwine. I am also grateful to Sister Nelva Murray. I'm also grateful to, there's some people who responded, Sister Indra. There are people who responded to the situation in a way that I am very, very happy for, and I'm thankful that that was done. And this morning we have a special program with Dr. Stephen, Dr. Carroll. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm okay, man. I'm okay. As soon as I'm seeing you now, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to be on with you, but the timing, I had to do an emergency surgery, so you have me you have me in my state where I function.
In your element. Yeah, folks. This morning we are discussing the health, a divine mission, and we have with us Dr. Stephen Samuel Carroll, who is a Caribbean man. He was born in Linden, Guyana, and he attended the Caribbean Union College. This is now USC. And then he went to Oakwood University, which was Oakwood College at that time. He graduated with a bachelor degree in biology, and Dr. Carroll continued studies at the Loma Linda University of School of Medicine, where he graduated with an MD degree. He did his internship and residency in general surgery at the Brookdale University Hospital and Medical Center in Brooklyn, New York. Now, Dr. Carroll is a board-certified surgeon with expertise in minimally invasive laparoscopic, bariatric, and robotic surgeries, and was the first surgeon in Brooklyn to perform a robotic gastric bypass in October 2011. That means kudos for the Caribbean. He is a member of several professional organizations and has served as the chairman of surgery at the Brooklyn Hospital Center and the Wyckoff Heights Medical Center. Dr. Carroll has received many awards, including the American Legacy Multicultural Healthcare Award, sponsored by Bayer. He has been published in the American Legacy magazine and was named as one of America's top surgeons by Consumer Research Council of America. I want to pause to say again that Dr. Carroll is a Caribbean man. Dr. Carroll is a co-founder with his wife, Joanne, and the president of the Overseas Medical Assistance Team, a nonprofit volunteer humanitarian organization that takes medical teams to Guyana, Haiti, and other developing countries. So he's a missionary also. In an effort to improve medical care, he and his wife are parents of 2 young adult daughters. Dr. Carroll is the current CEO of the Community Hospital of Seventh-day Adventists, and in the last year has been rebuilding the hospital to provide state-of-the-art affordable health care to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Dr. As you said, Community Hospital there. I want to go straight at it. What do the name Community Hospital means? I have heard this for most of my life, but since I have you on, I say at least somebody will tell me, is this a difference between a private hospital and a general hospital? What actually we mean by community hospital?
Thank you so much again, Pastor. I think that it's a good way to start the conversation because many people who come to community hospital, they're not aware that it's really a private hospital. Now, keep in mind, it was the first private hospital in Trinidad and Tobago. It opened on 17th of September, 1962, the same year the country became independent. Mm-hmm. I think it started as a small clinic near the Savannah, where the present Stanmore Church is. And so I think the founders had in mind that this hospital should serve the community, but it is a private hospital. And as I said, the first private hospital in Trinidad.
Okay, but why would a church be involved in a hospital? Is this not taking away from the gospel ministry of the church? Is not spreading your wings outside of where the Bible wants you?
In fact, it's the opposite. I think most of us who are Bible scholars would definitely not debate that Jesus spent a lot of his ministry healing people. I think that's like very obvious. We don't have to have a big debate over that one. I also believe that the medical ministry, as we know it from Sister White's writings and all the other tenets of the church, it's the right arm of the gospel that we're supposed to share with people. So I remember in 1984 when Loma Linda did the baboon heart transplant in Baby Faye, the question in the news media was, what is a little church doing in big medicine? Declare that medicine and healthcare, keeping people healthy, is a part of ministry and it's God's business. We're in this because it's doing God's work.
Well, as you said, I like what you said. So now I should ask this question. Since you are saying this is God's work, should I expect difference in healthcare? When you go to community, should I express difference? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
What we believe is that as a Seventh-day Adventist institution, we should have a few things that are part of our signature. That means you should know us for those things. That's why we should be different. I would say to you, first of all, you should walk into an Adventist hospital and know that it is an Adventist hospital by the things you see, the things you hear. And even though it's not perfect in our own sphere or outside of Trinidad, we try to make sure that we rep our employees, not 100%, but as much as possible, our employees should represent people of the faith who have the same ethos. An Adventist hospital has a personality. And if you're not careful, you could, that has to be preserved. The second thing is you should sense there's a spiritual part to what we do. It's not just that we do the medicine, and it should be quality medicine. Don't ever compromise. I don't want to say you came to an Adventist hospital and had surgery. The surgeon is an Adventist, but he can't do surgery. It's more important that the person be good at what they do, but you should still know people pray for you when you come. The chaplain comes before the surgery, regardless of your faith, and prays for you. I also believe that we should be the most affordable. There must be a way that we are different. And I'm not saying we're in the business to lose money, but we should find ways to make healthcare as affordable as possible.
How has the hospital impacted the community? Is it the community see it as a place that they can find the service that you are speaking about, or it's just there in Cocorite just because the land was available?
No, I'm passionate about that because I think that's the reason my wife and I left the US to come to Trinidad. We felt that when we got the call a year ago, it really represented an opportunity to reestablish an institution that has an amazing legacy. When this hospital opened in 1962, when we did the first set of reporting, it was amazing. 10% of the patients who came to the hospital were Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay.
3% were Catholics, and the rest between Hindu and Muslim. And even today, 61 years later, the majority of people who come to community hospital are not Seventh-day Adventists. In fact, I have to be doing outreach to the church members to convince them to come to community hospital. Most of the people who come here today are people from the general community who believe in our health message, and they believe in our quality. They also believe we're honest. They believe we're not there to, as they will say, to just take advantage of people. And so we are seeing a new awakening, because after 61 years, as you probably know, as a minister, there was a time the hospital was slated to be sold.
Oh, yes.
The hospital was going to close. So
not only to be sold, but checks had exchanged hands also.
That's yes. So the public, as we're doing outreach now, we had an event a few weeks ago, and we did 20 treatments on women, and only 2 of them knew that the Adventist hospital was there.
My God.
A lot of people thought it was a convent because the trees had overgrown the property. And these big ficus trees, I mean, they're 100 years old, but they could take over the property. So I'll share with you some of the things we're doing.
Okay. We come to that because I know you have a program. I want to deal with that program also. I just want to make sure those who are listening to me have an understanding what we are talking about.
Yes.
This is a church organization. And once you hear church, you begin to think and church treatment, church hospital. You begin to wonder if there's modern contemporary medicine, or is naturopathic treatment, or what is the treatment? What you begin to ask yourself immediately when you hear church, especially small church, as they say. You start to wonder, what is the medical treatment that has been given in this place? Can you help us?
Yeah, I think we need to put this in the context that not only is the hospital 61 years old, but the Seventh-day Adventist Church as a denomination. Around the world, we have world-class hospitals. Loma Linda University is no short on hospital quality. The Florida Hospital, Advent Health, Kettering Hospital. So I am just here to put it to rest. We are actually providing the highest quality modern care at community hospital. We do every level of complexity of surgery, whether it's neurosurgery, orthopedic surgery, and soon we're going to be looking at starting our own cardiac program. We do the most advanced laparoscopic surgery, right? So we are not there to do second-class medicine. However, we also believe in prevention and wellness. So we are also here to promote health and lifestyle. So we are not just doing naturopathic remedies. Our chief medical officer, for example, is a gynecologist, but she's a cancer specialist. So we are here to treat somebody has breast cancer, colon cancer, pelvic disease, cancer. We have surgeons here that could treat all those levels of complexity. But we also have people who understand there's a connection between our lifestyle and spiritual and our new start. We advocate some of that stuff. So we're not shy, but you wouldn't find it elsewhere. You would find the other medicine elsewhere, but you wouldn't find emphasis on disease prevention and wellness.
Oh, okay. So therefore, you are saying that it is really a divine mission, that health and lifestyle and spirituality and all these things, you are saying these things are one, and the hospital demonstrates this. That's what they say.
And that's why we're different. We have to be different. We can't just remove the tumor and give you this medicine. If you could get that anywhere. We believe that we have to have an institution that has an ethos that is consistent with our faith. And we believe in the big picture. We believe this is all about salvation. So we see ministry and healthcare as a part of the one goal to win souls for the kingdom. We feel every interaction is an opportunity to witness.
But how do you survive? How do you survive with the high cost of medical treatment? And you are in a working class neighborhood with working class people. How can a hospital survive in an environment, a hostile environment like that?
I think it has to be a combination of things. You have to do, first of all, I like the question because it allowed me when I arrived to make a conclusion that was basically the inflection point as to how we could turn things around. You cannot just have working class people who are resource poor as your only customers. It's just not possible. So we started a relationship with one and now soon to be two insurance companies where they're sending patients to us as a preferred provider. We have a few companies we're dealing with, and they're sending their workers to us as a part of a preferred relationship. So if we are able to build a critical mass of people between the general public, the insurance companies, actual companies, there are many companies, for example, like the oil and gas companies in Trinidad, they need a medical institution that they could partner with for their annual and physicals. And, so those are all the kinds of relationships we are building to make sure we have a wide cross section of patients that could help us to grow. You cannot grow only with one demographic. So that's what we've been working on.
What are the most frequent forms of ailments that is treated at the hospital? And I know some hospitals they become, to a certain sort of, I shouldn't say disease, but usually continue with the old ailment. They may become a place that I can say, well, if I am sick with X, this is the place to go. Or if I wonder if you understand my question.
I know what you're saying as a general question, and there's what we call specialty hospitals that,
yes.
if you so they're the best in cardiac problems. And I feel that those are things that they do happen, but I feel you have to be in a space where you're able to provide good general care before you could really start to specialize.
That's okay.
I believe that our goal in the near future is that as we develop our general services, right now we have one of the most comprehensive radiology services. You could have mammograms, CAT scans, MRIs, ultrasounds, echocardiogram. You could have all of those basic diagnostic tests. But we feel in the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to try to establish our hospital as a place where you could get the best quality cancer care as well as cardiovascular care. So we're not going to be like just known for one thing, but we feel that as a community-based hospital, we should still specialize and be known for a couple of things. We may not be known as the most comprehensive orthopedic, right? But we should be able to at least know that cardiovascular care, if you have a heart attack, what's your best place or chance to survive? It will be community.
I want to ask a general question that I would have asked any doctor. What is the most prevalent form of illness that we are facing? And I don't have the data before me. I know there are data out there, but if you can use the grounded theory here. What is the most common form of ailment that people enter the community hospital for?
They're in line with the whole Caribbean and probably the world. The most common is what we call non-communicable diseases, and they're rarely cardiovascular diseases. Diabetes, hypertension, those are your two top, not just prevalent, but they're the most, you'll be shocked at the number of people in Trinidad and the Caribbean who have stroke problems. They have, and they're old, they're relatively young, and that's why we're the only place in English-speaking Caribbean where we have inpatient rehab. So people who have strokes, if you want to have the best recovery, that's where you come, community hospital. So as I was telling you, we may not be in every area of medicine, but we feel we could distinguish ourselves in those areas of non-communicable diseases that have the greatest frequency, and therefore will have the greatest impact. Diabetes, hypertension, stroke, cardiovascular disease. We think that's where we need to focus.
And all this is done through a system where the religious element is provided also.
Repeat that or explain.
All these things are done with the same focus of a religious focus also, where religion plays, where spirituality plays a part in the healing process. Is that the case?
That's correct. And what we have been able to do, and we are working to be better, we have a chaplain that is a part of our team, but where we want to be a little more inclusive, which is what you would find if you were in a Adventist hospital in the United States, like Florida Hospital, Loma Linda. Not only do you have an Adventist chaplain, but your chaplaincy should include the other religions. So there should be ministers from other denominations that are part of the chaplain staff, so that a patient who's from another religion, who's a patient, and they ask for a priest or some kind of a religious leader, we should be able to deal with them, because it's more about dealing with them in the context of what matters to them spiritually, right? Okay. But we believe it's very critical.
I read don't hold me to the names and things like that, but I read a report. I think it's coming from at Stanford University, one of those universities, and they were saying that people, especially people who are in mental institutions, they tend to have results mostly when they have religious intervention than the intervention of the counselors and the drugs that they give. Have you ever experienced that religion playing a part of recovery and revival, almost in the same way, or sometimes better than medicine?
Well, we believe that, remember, we are healthcare providers who look for the best result. We are more outcome oriented than actual the treatment oriented. And what you find now is that there's a large body of data that looks at what we now refer to as integrative medicine. How do you integrate every part of the human being, the physical, the mental, the spiritual? All of these things must be well. That's why the Bible said in John, the text talks about we want to prosper and be in health even as our soul prosper. That means everything must be to the same degree, not just one or the other.
I got a question from someone here on the lines asking if, apart from you being the CEO, if you are a doctor attached to the hospital, and what's your specialty?
Apart from the CEO, my specialty is surgery. I am a surgeon trained for 30 years in the United States. Up until last year, I was the chairman of surgery at Harlem Hospital in Brooklyn, in Manhattan. But I spent most of my career at 2 other hospitals in Brooklyn as the chairman. So my specialty is abdominal surgery, but I do breast surgery, colon surgery, gallbladder, hernia. Do these surgeries with what they call keyhole surgery or minimally invasive, laparoscopic. All of those words are part of my specialty.
You covered this already, but I want to bring it back because you covered within a question, and that is the hospital being in a Christian system? Do you see your treatment or your main goal as prevention or cure?
You have to do both. You can't have now, and keep in mind, you also have to know the public. Right now, the public in Trinidad and the Caribbean are not so focused on prevention. Most people only seek healthcare when they are sick. Very few people, and I had a conversation with some of the men at a conference recently. Men understand when they have a car, you take it to get it tuned up and you do a little preventive maintenance so that, you know, the oil change and the brake check. Well, the body is no different. But people in the Caribbean and I as practicing, they don't come if they're well. Insurance companies don't have a system in place to allow them to come when they're well and pay for the care. So you have to be prepared to do treatment of illness, but at the same time run programs of education and disease prevention and wellness. So you have to do both. You can't jump into one category, because if all you do is prevention and somebody came with a heart attack and you have no mechanism to help them to survive, then you're not really functioning as a hospital.
I hear you. So therefore, Christians, and I'm talking about across the board, should see health on the side of the cross, on the side of all the things that they speak about. Is that what you say?
Absolutely. And I think that's the challenge for us as a church. We talk about health and we talk about stuff, but, you know, we said the body is the temple of the Holy Ghost. But the truth of the matter is, if you go to most Adventist churches, we have the same issues with diabetes, obesity. I'm talking about the obesity rate is significant.
Really drop off there, Doc. I'm not hearing you. I don't know if it's drop off.
You know, things that we could control. So,
Doc, we missed you for about 5 seconds. Mr. Anderson, you go to any Adventist church.
If you go to an Adventist church and you do the health fairs that we do at least one a month, the same frequency of diabetes, hypertension, sleep apnea, obesity, all of these things that are chronic are parts of the church. So we need to be able to take some responsibility and say, look, as children of God, our bodies are the temple and we want to treat it better. And it takes an effort. It takes getting up and going to the savannah or wherever you could go and do a walk. You know, it does take effort. Prevention is not easy, but it requires that Christian people should be leading the charge of good health, disease prevention, and wellness.
So, Doc, I'm about to seek some free advice here. I have a serious case of sleep apnea. I take pills sometimes to go to sleep. Sometimes I go to sleep. Like I try to go in early and I'll be up by 11 and I will fall asleep again at 3 and things like that. What is happening?
Well, these are things that require like an intervention. And fortunately, with technology, we have an associate who works with us that's an expert in sleep issues. His name is Gregory, and he's actually Trinidadian who is out of Miami. But he is a part of the Trinidad, medical community working with us. And I would advise, if you want to have an evaluation consultation with him, I could do it. And lots of it could be done remotely. The pandemic taught us we didn't need to be anywhere to get some of these things done. And a lot of it is technology driven, that you don't have to go into a building and sleep for the night so that they could analyze you. They put a little gadget on your finger and it gives the same information when you sleep at night. So somebody could objectively evaluate your sleep pattern and use the data to make prescriptive, recommendations.
We'll talk after the program.
Yeah,
now, there's a program carded for the hospital. I got an invitation. Thank you all for the invitation.
You're welcome.
On the 3rd of December. What is this program about?
Man, I'm excited you got me. This is the part I'm fired up about.
Yes.
On the 3rd of December, after 61 years of providing excellent service to the community, and if you go back in the archives, you will read that the Minister of Health in 1962, when they opened the hospital, commended the Seventh-day Adventist Church that has been in Trinidad since in the 1800s for helping to fill a gap that the ministry couldn't fill. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. When we have a hospital, is not just as a hospital just for the church. We recognize that we are near Port of Spain General and we are not far from St. James. Community hospital fills a void that the government hospitals cannot fill, right? Okay. So we're not, and so what we're doing after 61 years is relaunching the hospital to reestablish the awareness of the hospital. We were shocked at the TARP Expo. We spent 2 days and most people didn't know community hospital is still here. So the 3rd of December is an attempt to bring in some government people, some business people, and keep in mind, Pastor, lots of your business people and what you guys in Trinidad call the 1%ers, a lot of them were born at community because in 62,
it was in the West.
That was the only place, a private hospital they could go. Okay. So we want to relaunch the hospital, let people come and visit. We're cleaning up the place. It's going to be really special. What you will see when you come is the beginning of this resurgence, not just to create awareness, but to improve the facility, both from the infrastructure and share some of the long-term plans that we have to make the hospital a modern, top-of-the-line hospital, not just for Trinidad, but how we could serve the wider community and the Caribbean community.
I got to say community, but in cookery there, I'm just thinking that when you say private hospital, immediately I am a working class person in the community. The issue of the hospital is not something that will make me feel that I'm included in that, because it says private, and private hospitals come with a certain sort of stigma, and I'm using stigma in a positive way, that I'm the working class person. Would I do you what has been done to make them know that this is here for them? It is in your community, it is for you, because I guess on the invite list on the 3rd, they didn't have much of the community because of what you are doing. But what was the outreach to the community that they know that, hey, you have a place and you have a say here. This is in your community. It is named after you. What is being done to generate such interest?
Well, we have been out in the community long ago. The community, we walk the community, we share out stuff. The school, the elementary school across the street, we have adopted that school. We provide, like the kids who in the summertime had food insecurities. We provided them with meals for whatever 2 months of the summer. We have been out in the community. We actually have a price called the cookery price. You know,
Okay, okay, okay.
hospital emergency room, people from this community just have to pay a nominal fee, right? Where there's no other place where that fee will be paid. We call it the cookery price. So you should feel when you walk in, even the price structure is there to accommodate the fact that they're members of the community with low resources. And we're saying that we want to make sure that we're inclusive, not just to come in the door, but also to make sure that our pricing would reflect that, you know, we are mindful of this community.
Any form of naturopathic medication is done at the hospital? Any form at all?
Not officially. We're going to start what is called like a wellness clinic. We'll have somebody, we're going to be doing a 30-day, like a wellness program. And after that is done, we'll then start like a regular wellness clinic. But we don't have a naturopathic doctor here.
Oh, okay, okay. But it's on the cards.
Yeah, something we'll be working with.
Okay. As you left, you came from where? From Ghana, or you came from New York?
I came from New York. I left Guyana in 1979. I have not lived in Guyana since 79. So I lived in the US from 1981 to now.
Oh,
I
so
still have a home there. You know, my kids are still here. So my wife and I, we came to Trinidad from the US. My wife is from Dominica. We both left home at 17. She went to Oakwood. I went to CUC first. Then I met her at Oakwood. So we have lived in the US for the last 42, 43 years.
oh, so I said that. I asked that. I said I want to know what is the experience you are coming with. I want to talk about that. I do not mean medical experience. I mean social experience. What is the experience you're coming with? And then you said all across the Caribbean, as far as the diabetes, lifestyle diseases are concerned. You're coming from a wealth of that experience also into a community where mainly Afro-Indo community. What is the wealth of the experience you come as far as that social aspect? Because as you know, how people respond to medicine, how people respond to healthcare, how people respond to helps or adds or is part of the whole healing process. So what is the experience?
Well, my experience is that after I left home in 1991, we started a non-for-profit organization that we do annual trips to Caribbean, Haiti, Guyana. So we are not disconnected from the realities of the Caribbean, even though we don't live in the Caribbean. So you bring other world, trust me, the world is very big.
Mm-hmm.
So you bring that with you, but you also, even though we're Caribbean people, we're living overseas, but we're still connected. Annual missions really is an impactful way, not just on the people you serve, but on yourself and your family, as long as you're consistent with your mission. So we are familiar with Caribbean lifestyle. We're familiar. So when we come on a mission, even though it might be a week or two, every year we still have an opportunity to deal with the same chronic, non-communicable diseases and the same patterns of behavior. So we are not out of place now that we're in Trinidad.
Okay, I want to stick a pin forward. I don't know if you have anybody online want to speak. Alex, I see you're on. Can you open the lines for us that anybody who want to interact with Dr. Carol will get a chance to do that? I'm seeing Alex coming on. Alex? I'm not seeing Alex coming on at all. Okay. I'm not seeing the producer is not coming on. I don't know if he's listening to me, if he could hear me. I mean, earlier he said he wasn't hearing me. Right? Okay. All right. Maybe he's not hearing me. So what has you discovered for yourself now since you've been here? What have you discovered as far as healthcare, as far as medicine, as far as the society is concerned? What have you discovered for yourself that maybe it was not in your mind when you took that flight to Trinidad? What have you discovered? I guess they would have painted a picture to you about the hospital and the interview and all that. But what have you discovered? apart from what is painted to you?
Yeah, that's a very good question, because after a year of what is called a lived experience, it's now more comprehensive than when you come with your original ideas. You know, once you're not here, you could have a set of concepts and theories, but after some time, you're now able to speak from a lived experience that is even more comprehensive than the board understands, right? The governance of the hospital is not the hospital. It's a part of where the conversation occurs, but it's not the hospital. So I have learned that the problems that we had to fix and to deal with, they're much more complicated. They're much more profound than is understood by most people, even that are part of the governance. That's number one. But number two, I also learned that the healthcare industry in Trinidad, that is called the private healthcare industry, is very profitable. So if you get into what is called projections, whether it's 2023 that we're in and 24 and beyond, the outlook of Trinidad's economy in general, it looks like it's going to grow with some of the new things going on back in the energy sector. But the healthcare sector is also strong in the private hospitals. So if you look at the other private hospitals around, they're thriving. So there's really a disconnect between a private hospital suffering when all the others are thriving. So that's some of the things we learned. But on a more personal note, since I'm on an Adventist program where the pastor is an Adventist minister, one of the things that surprised me the most is the fact that the Adventist community, as members of each church, they are owners of this hospital. This is not my hospital. I didn't come to own it. I have found it just a true, almost disappointing situation where we have to go and convince the members who own the hospital they should come to the hospital. I find, and I would like to ask you and your listeners, what is it that we could do other than assuring the privacy and confidentiality, which we have made it a focus? I've even created a health plan just for the Seventh-day Adventist members, as you mentioned up front, but there's still this reluctance. People they have no coverage, and you say, let's do something for the members, but they're not embracing it as I had anticipated. And so I'm learning that there is a difference between what you're hoping to do and how the membership, in particular the church membership, perceive what we're trying to do.
You know, human beings are led. Human beings do not operate in silos. They are led. And you can stay out of this, but I will say this. And those who are leading ought to come to the place to say how many members we have, 54,000, whatever. Yeah. Why can't we have a plan, a medical plan for all members, whereby members can be able to afford on a small thing every month from the meager earnings, but when things happen, they can afford, because a health plan for Seventh-day Adventists will not be expensive. I'll tell you why. Because of lifestyle. They are not into parties. They are not into Panorama. They are not coming back from Marshall Monday, 3 o'clock in the morning. They are not drinkers. They are not smokers. So a health plan with any serious insurance company, it will be pretty attractive, because you are dealing with people whose lifestyle is not on the high side. But it is not happening. And you don't expect Brother Tom to decide that he's going to form a medical a group plan for the church members, or Elder Harris or Superintendent Joan. You don't expect that. It must come from somewhere.
Well, I got good news for you, Pastor.
Nice. Let me hear you.
We have such a plan. The community, it's called the CHIP plan, the Community Hospital Health Plan, was made by an insurance company in Trinidad, because just like you said, they believe the Adventist population is not high risk. In fact, the plan is $300 a month for the most comprehensive care you could find anywhere in the country. It includes, if you get sick and you need care that is only available in the United States, the plan will pay for the care. if you get sick and you need an air ambulance to take you out of the country, it's just like any other plan in its comprehensive nature, but they're banking on the fact that the members are good risk. Now, here what's my challenge. Sooner or later, if the members, and as you know, I've been to the different meetings and the constituency helping to promote the plan, but sooner or later, you'll have to open the plan to the public if the church members don't join the plan. We do have a plan. There's a plan that we've been trying to get it around. We are talking to all the right players, the right people, but I'm just saying there's this, I don't know what to call it, Pastor, but there's this reluctance. And I told somebody,
Doc, I do think it's reluctance because as you said it, I vaguely know about it. Okay. And if I am in the leadership and vaguely know about it, you understand what's happening on the ground. So
we went to a meeting at Dabadie where we met with all of the health ministry leaders of the 100 and how many churches in the conference, right? Mm-hmm. We went to the constituency meeting up at USC. We wrote letters to every pastor advising them about this. We made connections with Sister Vicky Dakota, the health ministry leader of the conference. How are we going to go to churches and promote it? We have been doing all of that. This is not something we have not done. The groundwork, we hired somebody just for the CHIP plan, just to promote, to register, to enroll. And who is wanting to join? It is the people from TARP. The heathen people are jumping to join the plan. But we are trying to make sure we stay true. Eventually, we might have to open it up to people. The insurance companies having that conversation. But my priority when we came is that we were seeing so many members who came with major medical illness, but they couldn't afford it. And some of them worked. So we came up with this plan, figuring we will roll out the plan to the membership. We're not, don't get me wrong, we'll continue to promote it. But since I'm on with you today, I'm using this as an opportunity. But I want the members to know not only that you own a hospital, you have a plan.
Yeah.
You have the best of both worlds.
Who's the point person at the hospital for this plan? Because I have some church leaders listening to me, even I'm speaking to you. Who's the point
person is Jamal. I'm trying to remember Jamal's last name, but we have somebody, and you guys could reach out to me. I am available. I'll put you in touch with him. But we believe that this, and Pastor, try to understand how this works. We were told that for this to work, it has to go through a lot of different processes and the committees and the conference. We did all of that. Yeah. We were able to go to every forum. That's what they told me. That's what we need to do, Doc. You can't just show up at churches and promote the program. We did everything they asked us to do.
I tell you. Doc, it was a pleasure. And I know that because I'm getting some little messages on my phone from people who listen. So it was a pleasure. And this, you see, what we're leaving on here, this CHIP plan, yeah. This song like so much music to my ears, and I love music. This thing song, no, it's something that I will follow up on all pastors who I am in touch with. Yeah. Because I feel if this is spread in the church, because I'm getting messages saying that if this thing is spread in the churches, there will be a response.
But I say this quick before you go. Here's the best part. The CHIP plan is so unique. If you come to the hospital, the insurance company will already know what your payment is. Right now you pay for care and you have to fill out a paper to get refunded. Yeah. With the CHIP plan, there's no refund. All you pay is your 20%.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So it cuts down on costs and cuts down on paperwork. It's an amazing plan.
No, man. We should have discussed this since 9 o'clock. We should be talking about this.
I could come back and have time for this. We could have a discussion on CHIP.
Okay, Doc. Doc, it was a real pleasure. It was a real pleasure. You almost gave me a heart attack. I told your wife that. But I'm all right now. And I want to thank you.
I'm happy to be here with you guys. And good luck to the listeners.
Yeah. And I will be at the hospital on the 3rd, although I have
Looking
although
forward.
although I have how you call it, a revival going on, but I will drop in for a time before I head to the So until then, until we meet, may God bless you and your family, bless your ministry, and continue to guide you in every way possible.
Thank you, sir.
Then, you have a great.
Okay.
Yeah, bye-bye. Alex, on my way out, I've seen Alex on, but I'm not hearing him. So I feel he's not hearing me because Ruskin wasn't hearing me earlier on. So folks who have been there, I want to tell you, you can call me right after the program at somebody's asking, he's gone. He's gone. Somebody just asked a question, but he's gone. So until next week, folks, I want to say those who have been contributing to the program, I want to tell you, you are the reason why we are here this morning. You are the reason why this program go on. You are the reason why this information is spread. And you can call me at 463-4376 right after the program, 463-4376. If you like to contribute to the program, or you can contribute First Citizen Bank. TTT Limited is the account, 1450203. Or you can, he's calling me. Somebody call me before I get off there. Yes, or you can RBC, Royal Bank of Canada, the account is Terence Brown, number 1003-791-703-24555. And until we meet again next week, may the good Lord bless you all in a marked and mighty way. Bye-bye, everybody.